So we're laughing. Yeah, we are. Fully recognizing that now's the time to laugh because you're still going to kick everyone's ass.
Yeah. So let's go briefly into Team USA. Beal's out. Jeremy Grant is a maybe, but it sounds like he's going to stay. Meanwhile, they lost their first two scrimmages. One against Nigeria and then against Australia on Monday. They bounced back and beat Argentina the next night. But there was a lot of, when they were down 0-2 in their scrimmages, there's a lot of, consternation about like what's wrong with Team USA here. So, Ti, have you had time to follow along with the finals going on? All of this Team USA stuff, and what do you think were some of the root causes of their struggles early on?
It's pretty clear they can't win without their Bucks guys, I think. Very obvious that Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are integral to Team USA. I hate, by the way, that those guys are still expected to play. Like, after all this, they're going to hop on a plane, like, from the parade. Like, just find other guys, man. Like, I think it's ridiculous that guys still playing are going to end up in the Olympics. Like, it just seems like way too much. But all jokes aside, and obviously Drew hasn't had a terrific two-way run, I do think they need more steady point guard play. And I think they need more getting to the basket as well. I feel like their team is a lot of jump shooters. Like when it was it like the starting five, Beal wasn't starting, was he? Or was he?
I believe he was.
So it was like Dame, Beal, Tatum, KD. Like, it's just so much. Yeah. And Bam. Yeah, like, they don't have enough guys going north-south. Like, I think it would help them a lot if they had someone who was getting to the basket, driving and kicking, and playing more defense, quite honestly. They have good defenders, but they don't have that many good guard defenders on the team. And also, like, the foul baiting, unsuccessful foul baiting, has just been brutal to watch. Like, they're like doing all these horrible things, and the FIBA officials are just staring at them like, that's no way, dude. Like, that's been ugly. Like, it's a horrible look for the country for them to be losing like this. And I understand the talent gap is closing. I'm not disputing that. But the U.S. still has abundantly more talent. And even without even without the Stephs and LeBrons, like, your team has KD, Tatum, Beal, Dame, like, I'm sorry, and you don't have as much cohesion. That's the trade the U.S. makes. They have all the talent, top to bottom, top shelf NBA players. You can trade some cohesion for that. You should still win. We've seen that in years past. I don't think Pop is a great international coach. I mean, people mostly ignored the 2019 FIBA. He was not very good there. I mean, Harrison Barnes at the 5 getting destroyed by Gobert in a really crucial game for them. I think that's been an issue, but I don't love the way the roster's built. They need more point guards. They needed more than just Drew anyway, like true point guards. But there's a lot of issues right now, I feel like, with the team. And I know they're projecting that they're not worried and everything else, and that's good. I need to see them get to the rim more and stop trying to draw these fouls, because it's just like, it's such a bad look, man. It looks terrible.
Yeah. Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports reported that, a couple of times in particular, and I know there are clips going around on Twitter too of like they're trying the typical, like Trae Young dive into guys, and the refs are clearly not calling them. So as they adjust to international style and more importantly international referees, I think that will change over time. And I think as they have more time together, develop chemistry and develop like a pecking order, that should help as well, because as you said, I mean, right now, all of the guys really in the starting lineup, other than Bam, their top skill is scoring. Even Dame, I mean, he's a good playmaker as well, but like you associate him with his shooting, his scoring more than his playmaking. And
he's certainly been playing that way over there. I mean, I watched some of the Argentina game, and it's like, he goes around a screen 30 feet from the rim and is just pulling up bombs from all over.
Right. So, adding Drew and Chris, I mean, I know you were half joking here, but adding guys who will do some of that dirty work, I think will, give this team a nice lift. And adding Devin Booker, who, again, he's like another guy whose primary skill set is scoring, but he get at least a 3-level scorer. And, he's actually better defensively now than he was a couple of years ago, or even than his reputation would suggest. Like, he's not a lockdown defender by any means, but he'll at least like throw his body in there and not let guys waltz to the rim. Mort, what is the perspective right now, like internationally, about Team USA? Are they as much of a laughing stock over there as they have been here?
Do you really want to know?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Big time. Look, here's the thing. There are, I'm part obviously of Danish NBA groups as well, and like there is a big European audience for NBA basketball, and that leads into international basketball as well. And clips of Jason Tatum and guys like looking around at the refs are being shared very aggressively with a lot of emojis. And we have this saying over here whenever there's like a crazy story that could be like just news wise, like Florida man, for example. We have this saying in many European countries, those Americans, we just say, which is an insinuation of this is like the only place on earth that story could originate. You know what I mean? And so we're basically taking that sentence and applying that now to the Team USA thing when they do those things. Like, that is only Americans that could just stop the course of play to look over at a ref, because we have this tendency over here at least where you can complain, but after the play, like get your ass back on defense, wait for the ball to stop or something, like wait for a call or something, then you can go talk to the ref. And the level of entitlement right now is significant. So we're laughing. Yeah, we are. Fully recognizing that now's the time to laugh because you're still going to kick everyone's ass.
We'll see. I hate the big man rotation they brought this year. I feel like big men are super important in the international game. They're really, really lucky that Jokic isn't pulling up for Serbia this year. I think that team, and I mean, not judging him, obviously, he's played so much ball in the last 12 months, but that team I think is really I mean, France and Spain always saw as well, but like Bam is a really great player. Not a traditional big though, not that big. And then it's like Draymond and Love being there. It's just like, what? Like, are we doing agent favor image rehabilitation as part of Team USA now? Like, what else is the point for him being there? And it's just like, I mean, I'm sorry, no excessive disrespect, but like, he hasn't been on the floor much for like 2 years. Like, I don't see the case. I think they needed a true big man. They don't really have one. That's a lot on Bam's shoulders, I think, against some of these great teams. Like, Gobert feasted on the team they sent last year because they didn't play Lopez or Turner enough. We'll see, or not last year, the last time. But I don't think they're for sure getting gold. I think probably at the end of the day, I mean, the team with KD and Dame and Beal, or not Beal anymore, Tatum, everyone else probably will. But I don't think it's a sure thing, and that is wild considering 12 and 16, the way those teams were.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have Curry, if you have KD at least, that was the guy I was thinking about, with his size, him being able to pull up from everywhere on the floor. He is the biggest matchup nightmare you could ever have in FIBA-oriented tournaments. And then there's a guy no one really talks about, and I realize Brian's going to laugh because I'm going to bring up a bull. Zach LaVine is actually pretty, like, he's catered to this kind of league or this kind of tournament because his athleticism is in the top 99th percentile of everyone involved. His shooting range is also very much like Dame, so substantial that he can create his shot every single time that he wants. But his first step is where he will get so much, he will gain so much rather, because most international clubs or international teams simply just don't have the individual defense to stop someone of that caliber. So I'm looking for him to take over a lot of those Bradley Beal minutes, and they just have so much scoring upside that I think they're bound to win it. They just need to approach this from a mental perspective that's a little bit more humbling, and that's not because I believe that humble yourself. Like, I don't care if you got it, flaunt it. That's really my mentality. But if you come in and like attack the refs and attack the whole system that has existed for far more than you have like lived on Earth, and you go, no, you should cater to my talent, that's when you go a bridge too far. So it becomes a question of going back a little bit, revisiting some of your inner demons there and going, all right, new approach. And that's where I think Pop is actually an asset. I understand where you're coming from, though, Ty. I mean, Ben Dowsett also mentioned it, that there are question marks hovering over Pop as an international coach. But I think from a, maybe not X and O's perspective, but just from a mentality perspective as a leader, I think he'll definitely give them something. And one final note on Levine, by the way. I think this was actually something that brought me to that conclusion that he's also going to be a tremendous asset. I don't know if you guys saw this, but before the game started in Las Vegas, there was a video of him talking to, I think it was a FIBA expert or one of the assistant coaches who had been FIBA before, and he was like legitimately asking, so what's a travel in FIBA, like if I move my pivot foot here, before I put the ball down, like he was really invested in trying to understand the differences. And I think that's the approach that Team USA just needs as a whole group. Like you can't just go into this thing going, yeah, we'll just NBA it up, because that is where it goes wrong. Adapt or die.
Also, one last very quick note on Levine. Basically, the only one of their perimeter scorers who wasn't in the bubble, Beal, I guess, but he's now leaving, wasn't in the bubble. A lot less miles in the last 12 months than... Yeah. I can't believe KD is... I was stunned when KD signed up. Like, credit to him. He's obviously... I agree more. He is the X factor that makes me go, maybe they still do get gold, because in every important medal game, he just has a ton of points because no one can guard him, which is also true in the NBA. But... the miles on him, it's so much credit to him for coming back. He wasn't in the bubble, but obviously, coming back from a freaking Achilles and looking that good, it's incredible.
If we're applying that logic, it might be galaxy brain to bring on Kevin Love. He hasn't played a lot.
He's really well rested.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, especially, it's a good point about the bubble. Like, so many of those guys were so mentally fatigued afterward, and this is going to be a much shorter trip. But, it might be helpful to have some guys who haven't had that experience before, so they're not just, like, actively dreading, oh, God, here we go again. Because it sounds like they are going to be bubbled when they get to Tokyo.
It's sounding rough over there. I don't know if you guys heard the Game 4 low post game with Michael Malone. There were players on the team when they got swept on the Nuggets that were like, honestly, thank God we can take a break now after the bubble and then all this, like, it's just funny the perspectives, because I know Bobby Portis was like, me not being in the bubble pissed me off and made me seek out the Bucks because I wanted to be with those teams. But the teams who have gone through it are like, Jesus, this has been just exhausting. Yeah. It's been a wild time, and hopefully the Olympics goes well. It's early signs are not great safety wise, but we'll see.
Give Bobby Kevin Love's spot.
I think he'd probably do pretty well.
I think you'd be a good FIBA player.
It sounds like this is from Adam Zagoria, who writes everywhere. Looks like they're looking at Julius Randle, Duncan Robinson, or Tobias Harris among the possible replacements for Bradley Beal. So Robinson at least adds shooting. Tobias is another kind of do-it-all forward. Randle probably makes the most sense in terms of if we're trying to add another big player, but at the same time,
I don't know.
Defensively, I don't know, and also like, again, I think it all comes back to beyond just the foul baiting ref stuff. Developing a hierarchy. Like I agree with you guys. KD should be the number one scorer. Like the offense should run through him. We saw what he did in the playoffs. There is no question that when that guy is on, he's still one of the best basketball players on the planet. Team USA has incredible players up and down the roster, but as much as I love Dame, as much as I love Levine, as much as I sort of like Tatum, Kevin Durant is the number one by far. So he needs to be the alpha, and it needs to trickle down from there. I also don't know if it's a coincidence that the one game Jason Tatum misses, that's the one they win by 28.
Oh my God. It is amazing with you. You are just actively trying to alienate every single Boston listener ever. God.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct.